Oh, we're live. We're live. Let's get this. Once we get this link going. Oh wait, why can't I hear myself? Oh, I have the Twitch stream open. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We got the link here. Let me retweet this. And then I'm just gonna retweet this from a couple different accounts, and we'll get it shared in the Discord. And then we could get started.
Good morning.
Good
Sup?
morning. Okay, and last but not least, the Discord announcement. Just bear with us one moment. Right. Got that announced, and then we have the Twitch that I'll pop back up real quick so we can see any questions, and I will drop our links, and we can get started. Ah, great. How annoying is it when you have to all these programs, you got to put your verification code in like every single time. Here we go. Okay. Did you guys see the link in the loving
Yep,
the
the
bird
link's in the chat.
ambiance? Okay, links in the chat. Is that you, Mint? You have like these magical birds in the background?
Yeah, man, it's early morning.
Love that.
Kicked outside.
All right, guys. So I might as well get started. Um, start with some introductions. My name is Dirty Sock, or Sock for short. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer and Creative Director at Phase Protocol, now called Phase Labs, since we've been building a lot more than just our first product, Phase Protocol. We have Dan here, who is our CFO. He's also in charge of tokenomics, in charge of basically anything finance related, and business strategy as well. And then we have Professor Mint, who is our lead developer, front end, back end, everything, and extraordinaire, who will be here to answer some questions about what we're talking about today, which is Align. Align by Phase Labs. It's our second product offering that we have basically formulated and come up with to combat the royalty issue that has kind of been plaguing the ecosystem. Magic Eden reached out to us, and we let them know that we had something planned and that we're building something that we think can help with royalty incentivization, not necessarily royalty enforcement, but royalty incentivization that could kind of realign our the interests and incentives of both creators and project founders and holders alike. Um, so yeah, we'll be chatting about that today. We're going to be going into a little bit of detail, as of course, this is our part of our hackathon submission, so we want to make it uh, pretty clear as to the benefits, and we definitely want everyone to understand that this is a work in progress as well. So bear with us quite a bit, but I'll kind of pass it off to Dan here, and let me also just share my screen so we're not just looking at nothing. Yeah, Dan, go for it.
Sure. Yeah, maybe just one more thing. I see a lot of people are watching on Twitter. If you have any questions, just hop into the Twitch chat. We'll be watching the Twitch chat and answer everything. So you're welcome to do so. But yeah, so Align, as Sok mentioned, is intended to align the interests of the community and developers or the team when it comes to spending and acquiring royalties from people. We all know that royalties have been pretty much the number one issue in the last few months on Solana and also on other chains. And the main thing that we saw as a problem is really a lack of transparency on how these royalties are spent by teams, which eventually led to people just refusing to pay them. And we're not really going to go into the debate whether royalties should be there or not. That's more for the space and the community to decide, and each individual to decide for themselves whether they want to pay them. But what we're building is a tool to provide transparency and also to provide the community a sort of insight and some decision-making power over how these royalties are spent, and also give them the ability to benefit directly from spending these royalties. So what Align does is allow both the community and the team to create on-chain proposals on the special platform that we're building. And these proposals are intended to get funded directly from the royalties pool. And these proposals can range from making some extra art, an art upgrade, making a promotional video, really anything that you can imagine that might cost some money, that either a community member might want to do and get paid for, or the community might hire an external person like from the space that might do a job for them. What we want to achieve is give the community a tool to say, okay, we're paying these royalties and we want them spent in a certain way that we believe is going to benefit the project. Obviously, hopefully increase the floor price, increase the value of their NFTs, right? Maybe Sok, if you can move to the UI, if we have it. Yeah, so this is the UI of Align, how it currently stands. If any of you are familiar with Phase Protocol, our first bigger product, maybe it reminds you of that, because some concepts are somewhat similar, but still, Align is not Phase. There's quite a few key differences when it comes to governance, because as you can imagine, a product like this, where the community is sort of has some decision-making power, is all about decentralized governance, right? And that's really what we focused on when designing this whole thing. So let me sort of go step by step how a community member or anyone would use Align. Let's say I'm a community member with a cool idea on how I want to benefit the project that I'm holding. Given that I'm a holder and I also either minted the NFT or I paid royalties. So if I didn't pay royalties, I cannot make a proposal. That's a key distinction because we feel like if you're not a payer of royalties, you shouldn't have as much of a say as someone that is a payer, right? You can still upvote certain proposals even if you didn't pay, but you can't make proposals, right? And we're going to use the API by CoralCube to sort of blacklist the wallets that refuse to pay them. So I make this proposal. I can specify whether I'm the one that was supposed to execute that job, or if I'm intending for someone else to sort of pick up that job. I specify the amount of money that I expect to get paid, and then there's a 5-day period or 3-day period, still sort of up in the air, where the community has time to discuss this proposal, to upvote it, downvote it, comment, right? And then it moves to a council decision. So this council is, as you can imagine, eventually going to be like completely decentralized sort of entity. But at the start for our MVP, we sort of figured out that the simplest solution is to have the team as it stands. So pretty much only the team be the council and take these decisions, which proposals will get approved and pushed forward and which will get sort of rejected. If the proposal gets approved, it moves to the approved section. If it gets rejected, it moves to the rejected section. So everything is still transparent. If the team decides to censor good proposals that got a lot of engagement, that got a lot of upvotes, it's there. It's there on the blockchain, so to speak. It cannot be censored, right? So it's very transparent what the team is doing with the money from the royalties, which was our goal, right? You can see sort of on the UI how these proposals might look like, right? Um, so this council, or at the start, it's the team, and then we're going to move to the council. I'm going to explain in a second how that's going to work. But this council then, let's say it passes that proposal forward. It's in charge of, sort of collaborating with that community member that proposed it, if they're the ones that were supposed to execute it, or simply finding the right person for the job. And once the job is done, there's going to be a section to post proof of completion. And once sort of the community is able to see that the job has been completed, they can get the payout. So if any of you are familiar with how Phase protocol works, it's all about escrows, right? So the funds, sorry, not the mint funds, that's for Phase. The royalty funds are locked in an escrow, and the team cannot just freely withdraw them whenever they want. They essentially need one of these proposals to go through and to get executed for them to receive the money to fund it, right? So it's not for their pockets really, unless they're the ones actually executing the job, which is also a possibility. So the funds get sort of dispersed from the escrow when the job is done, and sort of the community can verify that the job was completed. So the protocol is quite safe from manipulation. Obviously, if a team were to be malicious, this is not a bulletproof protocol. They could probably make malicious proposals and so on, or try to bypass these security systems, at least at the start. Once the council is more decentralized, that's going to be very hard. But at the start, there's going to be some due diligence that the community has to do sort of constantly to monitor what the team is doing with the royalty funds. Okay, let me quickly also talk about reputation. So Phase Labs is building a bunch of products, one of which is obviously Align, but also Phase Protocol and some other stuff that's in the pipeline. And what we're going to end up doing is sort of having a single profile that you're going to use across all of our products. And that profile is going to constantly accrue reputation, on-chain reputation, that's going to be sort of linked to your wallet, or your profile that's going to be linked to your wallet. And you get this reputation by upvoting, downvoting, commenting, sort of engaging with the DAO. These calculations on how this reputation is accrued are relatively complex, and we're gonna provide documentation on how it all works. So I'm not gonna go into a lot of detail, but let's say you upvote a proposal that was successful, that the community saw as sort of profitable. You're gonna get more reputation. If you're upvoting a negative proposal, meaning that you just didn't do very good due diligence on that proposal, you might get some reputation deducted, and so on. So it's like a scoring algorithm. And from this reputation, that's how the council is sort of formed. it's still a bit, up in the air how exactly that's going to happen. But the current plan is to pick, the top couple people with the highest reputation, ask them if they would like to be, essentially offer them a candidacy for this council. Then they get through some sort of verification/election process, and this council becomes decentralized. So that's the end goal, and we think we can reach that goal actually pretty fast. The MVP, we wanted to be a bit more flexible. We wanted the team to still retain a bit more decision-making power, just to make this transition a bit easier for them. But the end goal, obviously, is to have this like very decentralized, which is sort of one of the core tenets of Phase Labs and Phase Protocol, and also Align. So I think that's about it. I probably missed some stuff. So, Armin.
I'll add on the decentralized part that we want it to definitely be an option, right? Like not all projects are the same. So if the team wants to remain kind of the council, right? I think we'll allow that as an option moving forward. But it's the direction of what we're building is definitely meant to be more decentralized. But we want to make sure that we could accommodate everybody. Um, maybe Dan, what we could do also, we might have probably should have done this in the beginning, is that there might be some people who actually don't know much about Phase Protocol itself. So maybe we just do like a quick explanation of that, and then jump back into Align about how Phase works and why using that technology to build Align just makes sense.
Yeah, sure. So Phase is sort of our flagship product, our first product, and what it does is protect you from rugs. I know that's a big ask from a protocol, but we really, we believe in the product that it can do that. So it's an escrow, or we call it a dynamic escrow, where when you mint an NFT, the mint funds don't go into the wallet of the team or the developers. They go into these escrow vaults. Each vault is associated with a phase, essentially one step of the roadmap of the project. This roadmap is put on chain, and the team has to essentially ask. Okay, so Sock is showing, I think, yeah, the UI of Phase. Once the team completes one of their phases or one of the steps on the roadmap, there's essentially a voting period where the community can block or veto their path forward. Right? They can essentially send them back. Okay, you didn't actually complete this phase. So imagine I'm a rugger, and I just stopped working on a project. I stopped delivering on what I promised to you as the community, or as my investors, essentially. You have the funds that you gave me are locked in these escrow vaults, and you can get them back in case I rug you, right? Obviously, there's the first installment and so on that I can take initially, just to start working on the first phase. That's a sort of unavoidable evil. But every other phase that I promised that I will fulfill, if I fulfill it, I get the money. If I don't get the money. And eventually, there's a resolution mechanism where if I rug you, you get the money that you invested in the mint back, right?
Yeah.
Another benefit
Or,
here. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, just a refund, a built-in refund mechanism that you'll be able to kind of claim refunded remaining treasury balance based on your proportion of basically the number of NFTs that you're holding at the time, if a roadmap is deemed failed.
Yep. And it also gives the NFT some sort of fundamental value, right? The NFT is a claim on a part of the treasury of the project. So that money doesn't just disappear like it does currently, or get sent to exchanges. It stays there. It's locked. And our protocol has also been audited, so we think it's pretty secure. And yeah, if anyone is interested in using Phase, hit us up, definitely.
Yep.
But you sort of see the design philosophy that we're following, and that where the inspiration for Align also came from, because we wanted to address the royalty issue even before it became an issue on Solana, like in a big way. But now we sort of figured out how to do that in the best
Yeah.
possible way without infringing on the team's sort of autonomy very much.
Yeah. Yeah. And we had considered, and we might still be considering, man, you could correct me if I'm wrong. We were considering just including the royalties into, phase protocol, like the main vaults, or opening their own vault. But I think that we opted to like build out a line that kind of made more sense, where the community would have way more of a say in what those specific funds were to be used for, instead of just essentially through phase protocol, your NFT acts as basically a fail-safe mechanism on the regular roadmap goals, the regular roadmap phases that a team is aiming to complete, like post mint. So yeah, Mint, I don't know if you had anything to add to that.
Yeah, I think the key differences between the two is phase is really directed at just providing the transparency between uh, for the community, but it's less DAO orientated in the fact that we want to build a line so that there's like a social implement consequence if the team decides to act malicious, that there is a way for the community to say, hey, you guys aren't doing what you're meant to, and they have a way to actually re-elect a different council. So that's the way that they sort of differentiate as phases, very team orientated, and that always changes, and you're protected by the fact that if they do something malicious, that you can flip it into the refund state based on the consensus throughout. But yeah, that's a key difference, I guess.
Yeah, and I would add to that in terms of like the social layer, or sort of the social consequence of being malicious as the team when it comes to Align, when it comes to spending royalties. That's royalties is where the community clearly has more leverage than the team, right? The community can simply decide to stop paying royalties if you're not spending them wisely as a team, right? So we think that it's in the team's interest to use Align and to incentivize people to pay royalties, because I'm not gonna say like without the line no one's gonna pay them, but it's pretty clear at the moment that people are not happy with how things stand currently, with zero transparency over how royalties are spent. um, and we just think it's this aligns the interests, which is why it's called Align. So yeah, any team that is interested in using this eventually, once we release the MVP, definitely hit us up. And also, if you have absolutely any questions, please use the Twitch chat, and we'll do our best to answer you.
Did I think I got disconnected. Oh, here we go. I'm back. Um, we got some comments. Oh, that's so weird. These weren't crossing over to our side of things. Um, Code. They want to see some code. Yeah, so we'll share, man, if you wanna kind of talk about the code, what we plan to share, and kind of when.
Yeah, we're still currently building like a lot of this out. Obviously, we will share it open source, and the repo will be completely open source once the hackathon comes around. So that's in a couple of weeks. We're not probably going to share it right now, just because we want to make sure that the submission for the hackathon goes smoothly. But yeah, you guys definitely can keep an eye on our Dead Monkeys repo, which is where it will be.
Yeah, and we
I've always,
can post and share about that when the time comes. Um, yeah. Um, I think that's basically excuse me, that's it for Align. I think in terms of like the proposal platform, we wanted to kind of mimic a little bit of the Reddit style of upvoting, downvoting, not just from a UI perspective, but like just from a UX like experience. Having your profile, like Dan said, that'll link across all of our products. That you'll really be able to kind of like gain that reputation and XP, if you will. Sorry, my dog is squeaking his toy. Um, across our different products and basically being able to accumulate and show to not only a community but the ecosystem and multiple communities that you are a good contributor at a deeper level than we have different kind of levels of contribution that we look for from our communities as project founders. You have Twitter, Discord, and whatnot, and I think this level of contribution stands out a lot more to us as creators as those who like care deeply about different um, kind of the future of the projects. Yeah, so I know that we're really excited about this. We spoke to the guys at Magic Eden quite a bit about this, and we're excited to share with them more. Also on Phase in particular, if anybody's got any questions in specific for Phase Protocol, um, we'll be happy to answer those as well. I know it's kind of a lot of information to digest, and Phase Protocol, our flagship product, is complex enough on its own. So yeah, definitely happy to answer any questions. I see a few. Who made the audit for Phase Protocol? Will Align also be audited? Good question. So
Yeah.
if we
So
yeah
the audit was done by a company called Block Apex. The report is also on their website if you want to take a look at it. That was for Phase Protocol.
yeah
And in terms of auditing Align, we're focused on getting it, on the hackathon at the moment. And as Mint said, it's going to be open source, which, hopefully we get some peer reviews and so on. So we will eventually be looking at an audit, that's for sure. But I can't exactly tell you when that would be.
yeah um, and then yeah we had another question following that. What's the rough time horizon for this? So for Align specifically, well, I guess I'll start with Phase Protocol. Phase Protocol is on mainnet. It's been audited. It's ready to be used. We have a couple projects lined up over the next couple of weeks that will be using um, Phase Protocol. We have integration partnerships with a handful of launchpads. We have a lot more in discussions as well. We're looking to kind of be that product that not be a launchpad, but be the product of security and transparency that the ecosystem's been asking for most of the year, I'd say. So we're excited to finally get that going. And then the timeline for Align is that obviously we plan to have it ready by the hackathon, which Mint, you said I think we have a couple more weeks.
Yeah, a couple more weeks to go. So basically, for the hackathon, it will be like a proof of concept. We'll have like most of the base features in there. Obviously, there's a lot to build out, especially with the election type stuff, and governance can be quite complex. So there will be a lot of iteration post that. We haven't really sketched out a full timeline because we've been pretty much trying to get this done as quick as possible. But yeah, we'll probably have more info on that once the hackathon is finished and we can sit down and actually start planning out.
Yeah, and just we've been not only extremely busy getting Phase Protocol on mainnet and operational, but we do have a third product, which I would say is technically our second product because it is finished and on mainnet that we haven't yet announced yet. So this technically is our third. So definitely stay tuned for once we start talking about that second product, which we should have some news pretty soon.
Yeah,
I
and
have a oh go ahead.
sorry, go ahead. No, I'm
No, I was just
just
gonna keep going with the questions, but go ahead first.
exactly, yeah. No, just in terms of Minimalist asked, how will you fund the further development for Align? So we we started off as a D-Rug actually, if you're unfamiliar, and that's one of the reasons why we even built Phase Protocol in the first place. We started building Phase Protocol as, okay, we're just building this, without like huge future plans. But now that we see that we're able to accomplish more than we thought imaginable to start, we transitioned to Phase Labs. We actually incorporated. So the funding for everything is going to sort of be joined with Phase, with the other product that Sok mentioned, and also with Align. And Phase Protocol has a revenue model. It's a percentage of mint funds that we take if you're using Phase.
Percentage of escrow funds.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
more detailed. So hopefully, that's gonna fund the future development of Align as well. There's currently no revenue model for Align. And in terms of your next question was, is the Phase project focusing on new projects, or are you also targeting existing ones? I'm not sure I can answer that.
Yeah.
Phase only targets. So Phase as it stands is only intended for new mints. But
because
maybe
it directly interacts and integrates with minting contracts. So it's permissionless. There's no manual kind of touch points where a team is required to send their mint funds to our escrow. It goes right from mint, from a holder or a minter's wallet, and through the the contract into the escrow. So yeah, and yeah, I'll cut Dan off because the second part, we can't quite talk about yet, but it might have something to do with what else we've built. So and then someone else asked if we're creating an NFT. We actually have an NFT collection already. We did a free airdrop. We haven't done a mint yet. We've done a free airdrop of 1,500 Phase passports. I dropped a link in Twitch. We did this as a thank you to our earliest supporters. We had a marketing campaign where you would kind of we asked people to slash their PFPs to kind of denote that they stand with stopping rugs and making the ecosystem a more secure and transparent space. And this was kind of before we revealed what Phase was and what the Phase protocol actually did. And we had a website where you could, basically a generator where you could put in your PFP and it'd spit out like the slash version where you could use it and do that. So we collected wallet addresses through that website and did a free airdrop basically to our early supporters. And yeah, we have a collection. We have a Discord. There is no promised utility on those passes right now. That's as much as I can say. I will say that that's our primary focus of if there was ever utility, it would go to that. And that's probably as much as I could say at the moment on a live recorded streaming Twitch stream. So yeah, happy to answer that, and definitely feel free to check us out and come into our Discord, ask any questions that you have. We could probably speak a little bit more on our passes there, and yeah. Yeah, I think I will just add about the funding. We, like Dan said, we basically a conglomerate of D-Rugs. So we've all pretty much been working for free on building Phase Protocol for the last how many months? Mint have you guys been building this?
Oh, it must be over a year now. Or
Yeah.
about a year.
Yeah. So yeah, we're good on we just want to do what's right for the ecosystem and make the space safer, because we understand that if these issues don't get resolved, and you know, someone has to do it, then this kind of the space won't last as long as we hope it will. We know that, like, with the immense liquidity loss that's happened just this past year from rugs and scams, and just the public sentiment of NFTs in general, if we don't provide like this security and transparency that the ecosystem is hoping for, that, you know, quote unquote normies would hope to expect, then, you know, if you look on Google right now and type in NFTs are, you'll see the first couple things that come up that Google and the public think about us. So, you know, we're putting infrastructure in place um, to really attract a higher level uh, of communities, of ecosystem participants, of creators, of pretty much anybody that we would want into the space. So, um, yeah. Um,
Yeah, I might
thanks.
just add that
Yeah, go ahead.
line, the focus of it is like for the hackathon, this is like a great use case, is to like incentivize royalty payment, give transparency over that, and give community some say in the way it gets utilized. But this will be like a complete governance program that could be used for anything outside of that. So this is a great use case for it, but the idea is that this could be standalone, like used by a project or an NFT that mints that wants to be completely decentralized in its governance process, and just making like the actual UX of using governance and the experience for the user being kind of more inviting than current solutions. Yeah, that's pretty much all.
Awesome. Yeah. If there are any questions, drop them in Twitch. I will check the Twitter one last time. I think we're good
Yeah.
on questions. I know that there's been some folks waiting for the code, that that I misinterpreted as you were asking for our code, but I now know that you're asking for the Magic DAO secret code for your quest, which is, let's see, where was it? Oh, for the Magic DAO members who are listening, the phrase to earn magic points is tracker. Tracker. TRCKER. I feel like a game show host here. um, yeah. Any other questions? I will be available on Twitter. We could drop our Twitters here. We'd put the face Twitter already, but if you want to reach out to me personally, happy to answer any questions. And yeah, we appreciate your guys' time. Thanks for coming to listen. Dan, Mint, any last comments?
Nope. I saw some people said that they like the idea, and I'm glad about that. I hope the space sort of accepts it, and excited to see where it goes. Excited to see like a final resolution to this royalty question that seems to be bugging everyone.
Yeah, and Mint, anything?
No, yep. Thank you all for coming along. This has been great, actually, getting it off our chest and being able to tell you guys what we've been working on. So yeah, excited to see how the hackathon goes and check out all the other submissions.
Yeah, awesome. And like we said, we do have this is technically our third product. We do have a second product that is on mainnet. It's ready to go. yet to be announced. So feel free to drop us a follow on Twitter or hop in our Discord. We will be releasing some news about that fairly soon, and we think it's also another game changer. So we'll continue to build really great things that will uplift the ecosystem for as long as we can, and we hope that you all join us along the way. So thanks again. Thank you, Magic Eden, for hosting us. Really appreciate it. Happy to be a partner of this of the hackathon. It's awesome what you guys are doing, and yeah, have a great day, everybody.
Yep. Thanks for coming.